Mats Mikkelsen! That was the applause before. So you have to be good if you want to get the same kind of reception after. Wait.
Okay, first, before we start, it will be in English, so if you need translation, grab your headphones. Ça va?
Oui, ça va.
Always.
C'est calme.
On adore vous avoir avec
C'est quelque chose.
It's always a pleasure. Okay, I'm not gonna do movie by movie. It's
Well, the dance scene was in there from the beginning, and I hated it.
Really?
I thought it was wrong, and I thought it felt pretentious. It was a fairly realistic film, and it felt as if it was going. Oh, whoa! Let's try this instead. It's better. C'est mieux. Voilà. I felt it was going out of the concept a little. We discussed it a lot, back and forth, and then tragedy happened on the film, and so we did it. No more questions. And I was absolutely wrong. It was the best ending of any film. But I was also wrong when we did The Hunt. I wanted a different ending as well. So I'm always wrong. Thomas is right, I'm wrong. No, it was a beautiful day. I used to be a dancer, but that was 30 years ago. So I didn't train for it, I just went for it. And I felt very, very old, but it was great.
It's great because this scene means a lot of things, and it took another meaning at the time we saw it. We were just in the middle of...
Yeah, I think wherever you grow up is part of your life. And there is obviously a tendency to be very interesting if you come from a working class area. Oh, it's so intense, it's so interesting. It doesn't have to be. It's just where you grow up. You can have enormous amounts of problems growing up in a wealthier family. So it's not about that, but it defines you at least somehow, right? And I remember that time as absolutely beautiful and effortless time in my life. But I'm sure I'm also pushing out a lot of things. But no, the childhood was, I really remember it with a smile on my face because it was just a fairy tale. There was always a wall, something you could climb on. There was something behind that house, that street corner. It was just a Huckleberry Finn adventure for me. I remember it like that. It's worthwhile. I mean, right now everybody has their own cameras, and then go for it. You have a story, go for it, learn from it, do it now. What I think that happened in Denmark, the big boom in the 90s, the big change, was that the same generation was working together for once. Normally, you would always have an older man directing a lot of young people, telling them how life is when you're young, which is obviously insane. And a lot of these old directors were great. I'm not saying that, I'm just saying it was a necessity that a generation was working together to get out of that straitjacket somehow. And that happened, and then everything exploded, and then since then everybody can work together, different generations. But work with your own friends and families, whatever. Try it out, go for it, and you will learn from it. I think that's the best advice I can do. And if they kick you out of school, then cry a little, they will take you back.
Character, when you see that on the script, do you ask yourself, do you say, I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it? Or do you ask yourself, how can I do it?
I didn't think any of those things. I was very touched by the script. Some scripts super interesting, and you can see possibilities in there. And a lot of scripts are not. Out they go. But then rarely you find one where you're just turning the page, and it's like, I went on the journey that we do when we watch the film. I was so frustrated reading the film. I mean, that this could happen. I wanted to punch something, but I didn't know who or what to punch, and that was the dilemma of the film. So was the immediate reaction I had when I read it. And then afterward, I was like, yeah, let's do this. I wasn't like afraid of how we're going to do it. No, I thought it was in there. We will find it.
Are you sometimes afraid of a part?
Yeah, really? Not afraid. I mean, you obviously
intimidated.
Not by a part. Well, if somebody's done it before, let's say you do Hamlet, right? You do Hamlet, and last year somebody else did Hamlet. Everybody loved Hamlet. Okay, I'm gonna do Hamlet now. Shit, right? But I'm not intimidated. But I can see challenges. If I believe this is absolutely right, this character is perfectly, but this will be very difficult for me. Then I need to obviously breathe in, breathe out, figure out whether I'm the right man or not. Will I take up the challenge? You can also turn it around and say, that exact thing I'm not good at. It's a very bad thing. It's very bad for the story. You can try to remove it, right? But you shouldn't do that. You should be honest to the story, and you take the challenge, and then once in a while you have to say, you know what? I think it's someone else. It's someone else. Let's say it's someone who speaks fluently Russian and can play piano. Let him have it. You know? Culture will change, music, literature, and films will change for each period of time it's in. It also reflects the time it's in. But a lot of the stuff that's still around, that was done 50 years ago, is around for a different reason. It's around because they are stories about humanity, something that will always be there, that won't change. It doesn't matter what the whim is this year or how it's changing. The humanity stories will always be around. There's a reason why we still can watch Godfather. There's a reason. And it's not because it was a time. All these characters are exquisitely portrayed and written and directed. And this is what we love about that film.
Yeah, James Bond is not true.
You said James the Bond there. That's a friend.
James Bond. Is it true that, I read that somewhere, that you never saw a James Bond movie before doing Casino Royale, you never saw a Star Wars movie before doing Rogue One? Is it true? On what planet do you live?
It is true. I was so happy when I was offered Indiana Jones because I've seen them all. As I said, I was a Bruce Lee, Buster Keaton, Charles Bronson kind of guy. I watched those kind of films. And I don't know, I just never caught that train. I'm super happy that I did it later. I remember actually my brother was waiting outside a movie theater for 2 fucking days to get a ticket for Star Wars. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And I went down and rented some Bruce Lee films. It's like, but I understand the fascination of both Bond and Star Wars, but I just didn't catch that train. I was watching something else.
Did you see them since?
I have seen them.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
I have, I promise. Yeah, they're great. It's a fantastic new world that opens up. Yeah.
Casino Royale, the scene at the casino. There is a moment in the card game where you do this, something like it, the movement of the hand, when
I do this with my hand?
a little, something like that.
With the hand?
With the hand. You go to your eye, the bad eye that you have in the film, and
yeah.
It almost touches skin. I wonder if that was improvised or not.
Listen, this is obviously people who play poker will know you will never do that. But it's a film where people have to understand that my character has a tell. A tell meaning that either he has good cards or bad cards. Nobody has a tell. You wouldn't survive in the poker world. But they wanted it there. And so I hated it. I was like, but he's the best poker player in the world. He can't put his hand up here when he has good cards. This is insane. But of course we needed it. But if you look at the hands, they're also insane hands. It's like royal, straight, flush, full house. Like, kind of. But that was a tell we needed for people to understand how smart James Bond was. And I gotta tell you, he is smart, and Daniel Craig is a smart guy as well. But everybody played poker on that set except him. He had no fucking clue what it was. He had no fucking idea. And then I had to lose $150 million to this guy. That's why, obviously, I kicked the shit out of his balls.
Well, what's really funny about this movie, that of course it's a James Bond, probably one of the best James Bond, and there's explosion and stunts and stuff like that. But what we keep from it, it's your scene with Daniel. I mean, it's an acting thing. It's is it always the most important? People,
for us, it was fun. I mean, I've never been on a big film like that. And neither had Daniel. I mean, I definitely felt the pressure of being part of this world. But if I felt it, Daniel must have felt it 1,000 times, right? Because talking about being nervous, there's been quite a few other Bonds. And everybody hated him before he did it. I mean, literally, every day he would walk and see like headlines of like, he's ugly, he's blonde, his nose is too big, you know? And they never gave him a chance, so obviously he was nervous. But we came from smaller projects, smaller films, and we were tackling it a little like that, especially the scene where I talked to him. We had a lot of ideas and a lot of improvisation, and Martin Campbell, really nice, super great director. He was listening and listening for about 10 minutes and looking at us, and he was like, boys, come back. It's a Bond film. So we were somewhere else doing something you could not do in a Bond film. So, but we did attack it like that. And I was very grateful that it was with Daniel I did this, because yeah, for both of us it was a very new experience, and I think it was nice to have a fellow actor who came from smaller projects. Yeah. You would be surprised that it's not that much green screen anymore. I mean, people tend to build enormous sets, and that is obviously something that will make us become little fanboys again. Just looking at this, and we have to not do that obviously when we shoot the film, because it's my house. I can't be looking at my house like that. But there is surprisingly little green screen. It's often when there is a creature, something that's alive, that moves, but the big sets, they're just building it. It's just insane.
what's your take on the fight for the cinema in cinema theater?
Yeah, I think we have to ask ourselves one question: are the platforms going to disappear? No. Okay, so then what? So instead of fighting each other, I think we have to find common grounds. You know, what we love about making movies. Are we allowed to say that when it's on the platform? Yeah, making movies. Our common love for that. This will never go away. There will always be this. I mean, obviously, everybody wants to be at the stadium when your team wins, you know. And it's the same with movies. You want to be in there with other people. But there is also the other opportunity. So I think there's room for both. I think we should inspire each other and not fight each other, because that would just become ugly. Yeah, it's Cannes. There's nothing like Cannes. Right? This is. I was here the first time with Nicholas. I think it was '97, and we thought it was winter because we heard there was mountains. So we were dressed for winter. We did not have a screening for our film, so we were standing on the corset with the winter clothes and DVDs, passing them out. Then we looked at each other and we were like, we'll be back someday. And so we were. All of a sudden, Nicholas was in the jury. He won a big award. I won an award. I was in the jury. It's a fantastic journey for us, for people who've been here. It's the biggest. It's the world championship of filmmaking. And if you're invited in here, you have to go for it. It's fantastic. So yeah, I love it. I'm so happy, so pleased that it's opened up again. And the funny thing about it, yeah, there's a lot of party and some drinking. But at the end of the day, this is what's happening. People talking about films, people watching films. And that is what's unique about this festival. There's films everywhere. And so I love camera. Yeah.
Johnny Depp's character before you, or did you create a new character, a new Grindelwald character? And did you watch a single Harry Potter before playing Grindelwald, like Star Wars or whatever?
Well, we no. Yeah, did I watch Harry Potter? Yes, I watched Harry Potter because my daughter was a fangirl. We watched them together, right? So I only watched them once. I love that universe. And I loved working on the film. David, who was the director of the show. I mean, I love all my directors, but I have never met a sweeter person in my life. It was almost insane. So if I came in, which didn't happen, and I forgot all my lines and I went straight into the wall like that, he would come and say, "I really like it." I was like, "But let's try this." It's like, "It's okay, David. You can say it sucks. It's okay." But he was so fucking sweet, and it created an atmosphere where everybody was just feeling really at home, and I felt at home. I mean, I tried to make it my own character. I am a big fan of Johnny Depp, and trying to copy him would be creative suicide. So you need to go somewhere else. That's the only way you can do it. I like talking about the work and stuff, and what I've done and people I've met. The rest I really want to keep secret anyways. I mean, I try as much as I can that people know nothing about me. So probably that would have been like, ask me about me, but no, they can't. I mean, the thing is, if I told something private, and I was, let's say I'm a football player, I say something very private about myself, then tomorrow you will watch him play football and maybe he scores a goal. And you wouldn't change your opinion of what he's doing there. But I am a professional liar. That's my job. So every time you see me up there, you somehow have to think, I am a little like that. He's like that. That's him, right? That's what I do for a living. And the more they know about me, they can go, yeah, but that's not him. He has 2 dogs and, you know, so secrecy is a very important thing of our job. Not because I want it to be pretentious, but just because it's going to ruin what people see, right? Did I answer your question? Not really.
To product that humanity, and also do you set up boundaries in that matters? Thank you.
What was the last bit? Did I what?
Do you set up boundaries?
Oh, boundaries, yeah, okay. Yeah, well, a little like we talked about, how deep do you go into a character? Listen, I don't think I will ever be able to answer that question completely, because I think I'm still looking for ways to find a character. There are certain ways I know we can go, but there's also other ways I've not tried. And there's like the classical thing, like some people start putting on the hat, and then the glasses, and then the character arrives, and other people starts from in here, and then the last bit is the hat. I don't care. It works, it works.
Mats Mikkelsen, merci beaucoup.
Voilà, merci.